if we feel misaligned, for example, in our bodies, and this creates injury, but our body adapts to this injury and starts to feel okay, is this a form of natural realignment? How do you better intuitively realign yourself? So I have a few points on this question. One of them is, in a way, yes, it is a natural kind of realignment. This is the way our body adapts, so we can keep going, and it's amazing. But it's not necessarily optimal, because this kind of natural realignment or adaptation can have kind of like a adverse outcome where more parts of your body can move out of alignment, and it can increase discomfort potentially in the future. So it's not necessarily that we want to like encourage it. So if you do injure yourself and you are misaligned, then to start to work with that to create more of an optimal alignment so that everything can live more in its place. But that's not to say that if that happens, that you would experience discomfort for the rest of your life. I'm just addressing that natural realignment in this particular context is not necessarily an optimal thing. And then I wanted to address the part about finding alignment intuitively. I think that finding alignment has a lot to do with learning, because it's something that we are not necessarily taught, really. Maybe nowadays it's taught more, and maybe the kids nowadays are more aware of, physical alignment and how to do it, and the importance of being aligned. However, I think in general, like the general population, it's not something that's kind of like, you're thinking about where your bones are when you're standing, or how you're moving, or how you're sitting, and so on and so forth. So because of the way that we have been raised, and I'm generalizing, alignment is a lot about learning, and then learning it, and then trying it, and feeling it, and then feeling the effects of it, and then going through this kind of like making that like a loop cycle, like rinse and repeat cycle that you go through, acknowledging that when you're learning alignment, like a kind of a realignment that is more optimal for your body, that it can feel uncomfortable and awkward when you can be used to another way of alignment that feels more easy and more kind of comfortable. So when you learn about, one thing is to learn, like watching on a, whatever educational platform, how to align my bones in Tadasana, standing or whatever. And then to integrate it, to feel it, to feel and to accept that it might feel a little bit awkward. And then to keep practicing that, to keep practicing until it becomes more ingrained. And then once it becomes more ingrained, that's where I think that things become more intuitive. If we were kind of brought up in a way that we were moving around the world in a more optimal physical alignment, then I think that physical alignment would be potentially just more intuitive. But because of our lifestyle and the way that we kind of mold, our bodies get molded, we have to learn alignment and then practice it, feel it. And then the other part is to really notice the difference. So when I stand like this versus this, to go inside and really like test for yourself, like, okay, how does my mental atmosphere feel right now? What about my emotional atmosphere? What about my body? Is there anywhere that feels like more squished or compressed? And you just take little notes, to gather data, and then stand up straight. And you do the same thing. You just collect data, and then you make the comparison, and you do that cycle again, and so that you really integrate the reasons why that is more optimal alignment, but you do it from like a somatic, visceral place. It becomes like knowledge that in your bones, in your body, in your muscles, in your tissue, in your mind. So those are all of the points I had on that. And just to reiterate that then when we start to establish that, then this intuitive alignment comes in where your body will start to align in a posture because you practiced it so many times, but not just because you know it from the outside, because you know it from the inside. I don't know why I put my hand down to do that, but just to like exemplify that the alignment and the self adjustments that start to happen, it's like do, you know, from the inside out, after lots of practice.